Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Brittany Francis, and on behalf of the Brooks organization, behalf of the Francis organization, we want to say welcome tonight. Welcome to Testimony Thursday. So, we do this at least once a week, either on Tuesdays or Thursdays, to share with each other why we are so thankful about this technology. What you're jumping on is really what we call a family night, where we jump on, we talk about the technology, we talk about how it works and what it does. And then we jump on, unmute ourselves, and share with each other why we are grateful and what testimony has happened this week. This technology, I truly believe to be the most prolific regenerative technology of our lifetime. And this is our miracle inbox. We get little text messages all the time. And it has created such a gratitude in our hearts for what we have our hands on. So if you're a guest tonight and you're just hoping to have a little bit of hope before Christmas, our prayer is that tonight gives you that hope. So with that, let's jump in. Let's talk about how this technology works, what it does, a little bit of the science behind it, and then we're going to open up for testimony. So be ready to give your testimony. So just know that this is not a normal disclaimer. What this is saying is that this technology is actually in the world of stem cells. And so your testimony is going to be completely different than the person who invited you onto this call's testimony, because all of our bodies are completely different. So just know that this technology, we truly know that it works on everybody, on everything, every single time, given enough time. But your testimony is going to be totally different than the person that you heard, because your body's different. Okay. So let's talk about this technology and the LifeWave story so that you understand and have some validity to this company. This company is well over 20 years old. Okay. And 20 years ago, David Schmidt was contracted by the US military to come up with something that the US military could utilize that would keep them awake for 24 to 36 hours straight, ready for combat. David went to work. He created a technology. We're going to talk about that science night. He created that technology. The Navy SEALs utilized it. And because it was so incredible, Stanford University got wind of it. They utilized this on their athletes. And that was the birth of LifeWave. And so this technology is not on trial. I want to make that very, very clear, because a lot of times when people hear the testimonies, they go, this couldn't be real. Oh, it's very, very real. My husband and I started utilizing this technology 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, and I was able to cancel the surgery on my arm because I started utilizing this technology, and my body started activating, and my body started doing what my body was needing to do, which was fix the issue in my arm. And then my body started fixing its thyroid numbers. And so I was actually taken off my thyroid medicine after day 47. And then my sweet husband stopped snoring after 3 days, and he actually had a internal bleed that he was actually able to cancel his iron infusions actually after utilizing this technology. So we're going to go into the science as to why all that happened, but I feel like it's very important that you know that all of us have a different story because of the power of what our body is able to do when utilizing this technology, because this technology is not on trial. We actually just won the Biotech Award in Stem Cell Innovation out of thousands of other companies, 15 different countries. This technology won in stem cell innovation. And so that's why you're going to hear these powerful testimonies. So, why this technology? I'm actually wearing it right here. Why this technology? Let's talk about the science and why before we jump into testimonies. Okay. Well, stem cells make up every single organ of our body. Okay. And by the time we're 30, half of our stem cells actually go to sleep. And by the time we're 60, 90% of them go to sleep. Okay. So if we could activate those stem cells, it's pretty incredible on what they do. Stem cells are a hot topic, right? Because they're actually the master building block of the entire body. It is their job to naturally repair and naturally renew the body. Okay. So when they're dormant, they don't have the ability to do that. Okay. They're found throughout various tissues and organs, and they're actually undifferentiated cells. That's why stem cells are such a hot topic. If you go and you get stem cells injected in your knee, they actually have the ability to look at, because they're heat seeking missiles, look at whatever's wrong in the knee and travel and triage, and the body begins to fix itself with its own stem cells. Okay, so that's why injecting stem cells became very, very popular, but it's thousands of dollars, right? And if they're not your own stem cells, who's to say that your body will actually accept those stem cells, right? There's no money back guarantee. So what if we could activate our stem cells? That's why you're going to hear the testimonies that you hear tonight, because your body knows itself. And so when you activate those stem cells, it's pretty incredible. Okay, so they're anti-inflammation, and stem cells are regenerative. Okay, they're antimicrobial, and they help energize your body. Okay, so that's what stem cells are. Okay, now let's go into the science. David Schmidt is the CEO. He's the inventor of the X39, which is what we're talking about tonight. We might talk about some of the other technologies, just depending on who shares what. But the X39, he is the inventor of. He has well over 200 patents. Okay, and he specializes in age reversal. But let's go back 20 years and let's go back to the original science as to why this technology works the way that it does. Okay. So he was actually contracted by the US military. Remember this story. He was contracted by the US military to come up with something that the Navy SEALs could utilize that would keep them awake for 24 to 36 hours straight, ready for combat. Okay. So they looked at David and they said, look, we know that you're working and helping us with mini submarines, but our Navy SEALs are falling asleep behind them and they're actually hooked on amphetamines. Can you help us? And he said, absolutely, I'm an inventor. So he began to study light frequency and chemical reactions that the body has to light frequency because he knew it couldn't be a pill or a supplement. Okay, so he started studying the colors of light and what the body actually could do in response to colors of light. Okay. And then, interestingly enough, he started studying our biophotons, which are inside our body. Okay. Our body, even once we are born, blink, a little piece of light lights up, right? Because we are beings of light. There's nothing weird about that. That's very scientific. And so he started studying this and he said, okay, there's DNA chemical reactions to light. Okay. That was studied by scientists hundreds of years even before him. Okay. And then he said, and then there's the inside, there's chemical reactions and there's light inside us, which means we obviously emit light. And that's absolutely, again, scientific. So off of our body, we emit different colors of frequencies of light. Okay. Between 1 to 2 centimeters off of our body. Okay. And interestingly enough, there was a Russian scientist that found that there's actually a red light, a response that the body has to red light, that the body naturally elevates adrenaline. So again, this is well over 20 years ago. David Schmidt found that we actually emit a red light frequency. And when reflected back into the body, just mirrored back, the body actually activates adrenaline. And so that is what you're looking at right here, the birth of LifeWave, or 20 years ago, the first ever technology, the energy enhancers. So the Navy SEALs utilize this technology. And again, it's just a reflection of frequency of light. The Navy SEALs began to utilize this technology, and then our Olympians started utilizing it because there's no drugs, no chemicals, no stimulants, well over 20 years ago. Okay. So David knew he was on to something brilliant through photobiomodulation. That's what we are dealing with tonight. This technology right here that I'm wearing reflects the frequency of light back into the body. And in response, the body does different things. Okay. Well, David said, all right, we emit all kinds of different colors. During his study, he found that. He used an FTIR, which is a machine that actually studies all the different spectrums of light off of our body. He said, let's find all these different colors and let's reflect them back into the body and see what the body does. Well, while he was doing that, he was on a mission, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you're on tonight. He was on a mission to find the specific light frequency that when reflected back in the body would wake up stem cells. He did it. After 10 years and $4.5 million, I present to you what actually won the Biotech Award in Stem Cell Innovation for 2025, the X39. This technology has well over 50 patents, actually 70 global patents. This technology is in over 84 countries. And what it does is it reflects a frequency of light back into the body. And the body, because remember, it's the body that's doing the work, the body actually, in response to that light frequency, elevates what is called the GHKCU copper peptide. That copper peptide is known as the holy grail of healing. It was found in 1973 and people were trying to inject it. Well, the problem again with injections is the body will pass through the injections, right? So, but when a natural elevation of the GHKCU copper peptide happens, your hair, your skin, your nails, lung protection begins to occur. So you see major changes in those that had horrible issues with COVID. Anti-fast growing cells. We don't even need to go there, but I think we all know the direction that that goes. Look at that. The GHK repairs damaged cells. Okay. And then brain and nerve damage begins to fix itself. Antioxidant power begins to happen. And then there you go at the very bottom, the activation of stem cells because of the elevation of that GHKCU copper peptide. There is nothing that is going inside your body. This technology is just made of amino salts, sugars, and crystals that are grinded down to a very specific mirror image, nothing gaudy or weird about that. That was made to reflect. If you look under a microscope, it's actually a mirror that was made to reflect a specific frequency of light. And then the body elevates that GHKCU copper peptide. And then imagine that a dimmer switch is inside the body. And the longer that you utilize this technology, the brighter the dimmer switch goes. It's absolutely incredible. So it's absolutely amazing because within the first few days, 4,000 genes begin to reset. 4,000 genes. Within 6 weeks, the brain becomes balanced. So PTSD, anxiety, depression, memory loss. You're going to probably hear some testimonies tonight about any of those things. You need to understand that this is a normal timeline when that GHKCU is naturally elevated. And then within 3 months, the collagen is increased. So those that are in sports, but also the elderly, it takes strength to get up and out of a chair. Well, the collagen is the matrix of the body. Okay, so the ability to move really changes. And then within 6 months, the cardiovascular age of the heart actually reverses. So this is not anti-aging, it's age reversal. In fact, a 3-year study, after 3 years of research, they found that at the telomere level, the telomeres actually lengthen, okay? And the average age reversal is 8.5 years if you utilize this technology 6 months or longer. Okay. 70% of people feel something unbelievable between 5 minutes and 5 days. 97% of people feel something unbelievable in 90 days. Okay. So absolutely powerful. It's a proprietary form of phototherapy. So just like when you go out in the sun and the body naturally elevates vitamin D, this technology you place on your body and the body naturally elevates that GHKCU copper peptide. Okay, so it's just reflecting a frequency of light. The body elevates that GHKCU copper peptide, and then all these different reactions occur that the body is naturally starting to fix itself. Okay, so it's non-dermal, non-transferable, does not get in the way of any medications, and it's so absolutely sophisticated, but very, very simple to explain. Very simple to explain. And so, with that, that is why, I tell everybody, let's get together and let's share with each other this technology and what this does because it's so incredibly powerful, So what I would love to do is I would love to start opening this up. I'm going to give an example of how to share your testimony tonight because we want to make sure that they're put together well so that that as this is being recorded, we can actually put this on our Testimony Tuesday channel, Testimony Thursday channel. So my name is Brittany Francis. I live in Richmond, Texas, and we've been utilizing this technology for 23 months. And my husband and I started utilizing this I didn't know if I had a lot of issues, but what I did realize is that, if I utilize this just from all the other testimonies that I heard, that something would happen. Well, I was actually scheduled to have surgery on my arm. And I utilized this technology, placed it directly on my arm, just the X39. And after 11 days, my body fixed itself. I was able to cancel my surgery on my arm. And then on day 47, I actually didn't feel quite right. I went to the doctor. The doctor took my blood work, and I had a thyroid condition for years, for years. And he told me I needed to stop doubling up my medication on my thyroid medication. And I told him I'm not doubling up my medication. He said, that's impossible. I said, no, it's not. I'm not doubling it. And he said, well, then I need to take you off of it. So I was taken off of my medication. So that gives you an idea of the power of what I had my hands on. And my husband stopped snoring after 3 days. And it's just absolutely blown my mind. So with that, I would love to open up for other people to unmute and to share what you all are seeing with this technology. Okay, 57 people. Hello.
Hello, Britt. You mind if I jump on here?
Oh, come on in.
Well, I tell you what, that was a fantastic overview of the of this technology, and boy, hasn't it changed our lives.
Yes, it has.
You know, my story goes back 2 years now as a user, and put these patches on from a referral from a friend that was the head of sports medicine at Rice University, and I was blown away because well, I took my time. Rick was 3 days, I was 2 weeks, and my sleep apnea was gone after 2 weeks, and then I was no longer shaking the neighborhood and doing all that damage. And it was fantastic. Then my family jumped on board as well, and it was just one thing after another with sleep apnea, with the adrenal fatigue, and then asthma, eczema, and then we had to share it at that time. And so that's what we've done. And we just keep on spreading the good news to people, changing lives.
I love it. Gosh, thank you, Dr. Tori. So Dr. Tori and Michelle, we're just so excited because we'll be with them a lot of these times just as a family, just sharing about this technology so that all of us can share with each other. And so we're so excited to be with them. All right, wonderful. Okay, I think that there is someone else that wanted to share, and I looks like he was able to turn on his camera.
Was mine. Yeah. Oh, was mine.
Hi, Delton. How are you? Look, I said it right.
Delton.
Yep.
Delton. Did you say Delton? That's pretty
Yes,
good.
sir.
All right. I have something today that relates to what my daughter wrote. So could I just read that?
Is it a testimony?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
On December the 15th, my daughter wrote, today marks 2 months since my parents and I started wearing phototherapy patches and have experienced great healing and more energy as a result of our own stem cells being reactivated and inflammation being reduced. Mom literally came back to life, and we've had 2 more sweet months with her. She's been able to go to church and family gatherings with us. She sits up straight now, no more leaning way to one side. She hears and responds. Dad at 90, that's me, Dad at 90, feels like he's 70 and is so happy his balance is better. He is feeling back he has feeling back in his feet, and so he can drive again. After I had COVID, my daughter talking now, in August I was depleted of energy and was always needing a nap in the afternoon. Now I have energy and keep going with no naps. We all sleep very well at night and wake up refreshed and ready for the day ahead. I'm excited because my memory is improving. Of course, we want our family and friends to know about this technology, which just won the Biotech Award and is helping people all over the world. Contact me or my dad if you'd like to learn more and get the patches wholesale. This could be a great Christmas present for your loved ones. Better health in 2026.
Oh, I love it, Dalton. I love it. Well, thank you for sharing that. So she's got testimonies too. So I love it. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
I love it. I love it. Oh, that's wonderful. All right. I will. All right, we're going to open it up. Anybody else? I know that there's tons because I see all the
Hello.
names.
Hey, Brittany.
Hello, how are you?
Okay. Um, I wanted to share with everybody that, I've been on the patch for about 2 months now. And when I started, the first thing I noticed was um, my sleep. I slept really good the first night. And when I woke up in the morning, I woke up headache free. I had been waking up with headaches for several months. And more recently, um, for about more or less 20 days now, I've actually been completely off my high blood pressure medication. And my blood pressure has been under control. So that's just with 2 months, and that's where I'm at today.
And this is just the beginning. I love it. I love it, Larry. Thank you for sharing. All right. Who else?
Hi, Brittany. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
That's a wonderful thing. Hey, my name's John McConnell, and I've been through a really coaster ride. I several years ago had a major heart attack, and we couldn't wait for an ambulance because I was in really bad shape. And my wife drove me to the hospital. We got there in the nick of time, and the doctor came into the room and he said, "What's wrong with you?" And my wife says, "He's having a heart attack." He goes, "Yeah, that's what they all say." And he started listening to my heart, and he says, "My God, he's in cardiac arrest." And he says, "We can't help him here because we just don't have the facilities to take care of that." So they life flighted me to another hospital. When I finally got in, they took me straight out of the helicopter straight into a surgery room, and they did a quadruple bypass. And it took a long time because my wife was sitting in a room waiting to hear some news. 4 hours later, the surgeon walks in. He says, "Well, if he lives through the night, he may stand a chance." So I was out of it. They had my eyes taped shut, packed with Vaseline so they wouldn't dry out. I couldn't see, but I could still hear faintly here. And there was all kind of commotion, and in intensive care, they had a 24-hour nurse sitting beside my bed monitoring everything. And after about, I think it was a week, I can't remember for sure, um, the surgeon came into my recovery room. I was still in the hospital, and he says, "You're a very sick person." He goes, "I think if you maybe make it 4 or 5 years, you might stand a chance." He says, "You should be on a heart transplant list because there's so much damage to your heart, and it'll never repair itself ever." And he says, "You only got half a heart working, and it's lucky it's on the pumping side, not the receiving side. Your receiving side doesn't do anything." He says, "But your pumping side is still working." Okay, fine. So some time went by, and there was many more hospital visits, many more of this, many more of that. And I was seeing a cardiologist almost every month for a while. Then it went to 3 months, and then it went to after firing some of my cardiologists, because one told me I wasn't going to live very much longer. One told me that I should go home and make some arrangements because he says you may be around another week or so. I couldn't accept that answer. So I went and I found one in Cleveland Clinic, and she put me on a 3 month schedule to come back. And then this I was on in the meantime, in the interim, I got introduced to LifeWave, and I started taking the patches. I thought, "Well, I'll wear the patches and see what happens." Well, 3 months later, I had another checkup with my cardiologist, and that was just this last June. And she looked at me and she checked her stethoscope and wiped it off and then kept listening. She goes, "I can't see any heart damage." she says, your heart is very, very strong. I won't have to see you for another year. Goodbye. And that was the end of it. Now, I cannot say that the patch healed my heart, but it wasn't supposed to heal. That never happens, but it did happen to me. I don't know why or how the life
Love
way works, but it did heal me. And I haven't been into the hospital for any heart conditions or anything else that relates to the heart, but my heart is working wonderfully. It's
it.
brand new or rebuilt, I guess you might say.
Oh,
But
John, I love it. I love it. And every time I see you, you look better. So I'm glad to hear that.
yeah, well, I owe a lot to my upline and Ron and Lou and everybody else that's been trying to help me with lightweight. It's a wonderful thing.
Wonderful. Oh, John, I'm so glad. Well, thank you for sharing. That is amazing. And thank you for sharing that. So that shows you, again, that elevation of that GHKCU copper peptide, what the power of the body and what the body is capable of doing. I love that, John. Thank you so much. Oh, it just keeps getting better. Okay, so next, we'd love to open it up. Who else?
Hi, Brittany. I can share.
Absolutely.
Okay. My name is Erin, and I started patching last September. And my reality before I started patching is that I had been struggling with a whole bunch of gut issues, from bloating to feeling gassy. And just when I would eat food, I just felt like I didn't want to eat. It just really weighed me down. And over the next several months, all of those symptoms went away. And as I continued to wear the patches for 6 months and 9 months, things continued to get better. Like my energy levels, inflammation just melted away from me, and I just keep experiencing more and more wins. So that is my testimony.
I love it. I love it, Miss Erin. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Okay. Who else? And we always give it a minute because it takes a minute for people to unmute. Who else would like to share? See if there's anybody else tonight. All right. All right. So, all right. Now, something that's very important for you all to understand is that the GHKCU, actually, that elevation actually does help accelerate the wound healing in animals. Okay. So, scrapes, burns, surgical incisions, it's pretty incredible what that GHKCU can do with the dogs, with the cats. It's anti-inflammatory. And so it does help reduce redness, itching, and that type of thing for animals. So it's really amazing to see what even our little dogs do and our little animals, even chickens. Okay, so because everybody has cells, right? And those stem cells. And so when that elevation of the GHKCU happens, really incredible things happen with the body. Okay. So, how you're going to wear the patch, okay? You're going to wear it 12 hours on and 12 hours off. Okay. This technology, you just wear it, you put it on wherever the issue is. Like when I had that issue on my arm, you're going to place it on the issue with your arm. Okay. And then you can take it off, put it on your dog if you love your dog, and then throw it away. And you can put a new patch on the next day. Now, when it touches the body, you want to make sure that uh, you understand that it is now activated. Okay. So make sure that it is completely, that you know that you cannot walk around with these in your pocket. Now, the reason why I say that is a very important reason. My husband made the mistake of placing the patches and putting them all in his pocket to give them to somebody. Well, your body activates them. So he activated a whole 30 packets or 30 patches. And so it got in the way of us blessing the person that we wanted to bless. So just remember that. Okay, now there is a documentary coming out about our company. It's called the Code of Creation. So I would highly recommend that if you're new to our family, that you look up the LifeWave trailer. You can actually look up LifeWave documentary trailer. So I think about 10 minutes long. We have seen the documentary. It's absolutely incredible. And so it just gives a little bit more validity to this because it's like, oh my gosh, you're hearing about sleep apnea, or you're hearing about the heart, or you're hearing about stomach and gut issues. Whatever it is that you heard tonight, what we have is very, very real. And you can look up other testimonies. There's a lot of testimonies on here. This is at info.com/testimonies. And this is going to be a huge place where you can say, okay, what about stroke? What about gluten issues? What about A1C levels? Whatever it is. And you can actually click this and see other testimonies. So we love this family night because all of us can just get on, freely talk about what's happening in our bodies. And, some nights, I know that it's the week before Christmas, so some nights are really short, some nights are really long. And so, but a lot of times people might text me after and say, well, what about this? And what about that? This is at info.com, has all the information. And there are tons of doctor testimonials that we have access to that we can help bring more validity if you need that. So between this and the doctor testimonials, if you have any other questions, you can absolutely find them at thisisit.info.com. Like I always say, this is our miracle inbox. And so if you're jumping on before Christmas and you're saying, I was told about this technology and I just don't know, but I need hope. I pray tonight, the week before Christmas, that you are filled with hope tonight. If you're praying for a change in your life or somebody in your life that you love, we really, as a family, pray that you jumped on here and you were filled with such hope, with such hope. Now you can wear and share this technology. We have other Zooms that talk about that, but understand that the only way that you can wear or that you can utilize or get this technology is through the person that got you on this Zoom. That there are tons of other scams and they're actually like Chinese writing. That is not LifeWave. You can only get them from someone that actually shares LifeWave with you. Okay. So this is how you become a brand partner, or this is how you become somebody that utilizes the technology. Okay, so you can actually order as a preferred customer for $99.95 a month. Okay, or if you are somebody that says, look, I have a whole lot of family that is going to need this. Like my husband and I, we actually have 4 kids and we all needed the technology. I have children in sports and all the things. We have a special needs child, so all these things. So we jumped in at the premium because we wanted everybody to patch. Okay, so this actually drops down the price from $99 down to $87.50 for the Advanced Plus, $88.64, 6 sleeves of X39, $89.17, and 3 sleeves, the core, at $295. Now, this right here is what the technology looks like. Okay, there's 30 of these in each of these little envelopes. Okay, so these are called a sleeve. Okay, and there's 30 of these in each of the sleeves. And so, what I will tell you is that we pray that tonight you're filled with hope. What we have our hands on is so very, very, very real. I thank each of you all that shared tonight. I know that this is a week before Christmas and so many people are at their kids' Christmas parties and all the things, but there are still people out there that are really praying and hoping for something unbelievable. And we truly believe that this is it. We really, really do. So with that, I pray that every single one of you have an incredible Merry Christmas. We will be seeing you all the week after next for the next Testimony Tuesday. And we just cannot wait to hear about your testimony because remember, 70% of people feel something unbelievable between 5 minutes and 5 days. 97% of people feel something unbelievable within 90 days. So you want to commit to utilizing this technology at least 6 months because my husband is now willing to drive with me at night because my eyesight started fixing itself at month 11. There were other things that happened before that, but at month 11, my stem cells started focusing on my eyes. So if I would have quit before then, I wouldn't have had that testimony. So just know as that dimmer switch is going brighter and brighter, you're going to be filled with more and more and more hope. So with that, I pray that all of you all have an incredible night and that you get back to the person that invited you to this and join us and be a part of our family, even if you're just going to utilize the technology. With that, God bless and have an incredible evening.